Hi, my name is Linnea Hanson. I'm a botanist. The title of my talk is Bloom Where You Are Planted. I like plants. I took a field biology class in college, taught by a zoologist and a botanist. We would go out in the field on the weekends, and the zoologist would have us put out trap lines for deer mice. And the evenings and then in the mornings, we would go out and see what was caught, make study skins out of that. And the botanist would say, I don't have to do anything like that. The plants are just stuck in the ground. And I thought that sounded a lot better. So that's why I went into botany. So what I'd like to talk about today is my work as a botanist on the Plumas National Forest, climate change and wildflowers, Northern California Botanists Organization, also the Friends of the Chico State Herbarium Organization, the diversity of California plants, some of the rare plants on the Plumas National Forest, and interesting wildflowers in our area. I was a botanist for the Plumas National Forest from 1979 to 2008, and here are some photos of me from that time. I got the first National Botany Award given from the Chief of the Forest Service in 1991, and also the first California Native Plant Society Agency Staff Person of the Year Award in 2008. I'm pretty pleased that I got both of those awards. I think that's pretty neat. I became the ecosystem manager for the Feather River Ranger District, and I did that from 2008 to 2011. I was a supervisor of the archaeology, botany, environmental planning, forestry, hydrology, and wildlife biology disciplines. Plumas National Forest is in the northernmost part of the Sierra Nevada. It's 1.2 million acres. 400,000 of that is the Feather River Ranger District. The lowest point on the Feather River is around Lake Oroville at about 900 feet, and the highest is 7,715 feet at Mount Fillmore. Climate change concerns and wildflowers is what people are concerned about now. The blooming times are more varied than they used to be. This is due to the variation in rainfall or snowpack and drought. The variation in rainfall or drought can affect the pollinators. Are the pollinators and the wildflowers still on the same cycle? Or will that change with climate change? So the pollinators and the wildflowers are not on the same cycle. And this is really a concern. Something that I've noticed is that the Table Mountain Peak wildflower bloom is more varied now. It used to always be March 31st or April 1st since I moved to Butte County 40 years ago. But now the peak time is somewhere a week either side of that date. I'm currently the president of Northern California Botanists and a founding board member of the Friends of the Chico State Herbarium. I'd like to talk about both of those organizations. I'll start first with the Northern California Botanist. I started that organization in 2006 to promote botany in Northern California. The purpose was to increase the knowledge and communication amongst agency, academic, consulting, and other botanists. This is about botanical issues concerning science, conservation, education, and professional development. Climate change and the effects on plants has been a major topic at the last 10 symposia. Our last symposium was in January 2020, and our theme was the diversity of Northern California botany, challenges and opportunities. And we also had student poster winners that are on our website that you can see there. It was a wonderful occasion. This happened January 13th through 15th in the Bell Memorial Union at Chico State. We had 320 participants, the largest attendance to date. There were 66 students that attended, and 42 stipends were given to those college students to attend. This was our 10th symposium. Here are some photos of some of the folks that gave talks. Teresa Scholars from College of the Redwoods, Don Miller from Chico State, and Michelle Stevens from Sac State. Our keynote speaker was Eric Knapp from the U.S. Forest Service Pacific Southwest Research Station. He talked about fire trends, causes, and consequences for the native plants we love. We also had a poster session with 31 posters. That was quite a lot of fun to view all of those. All of the talks are on our website if people want to watch the videos of those. We also give out research scholarships to undergrad and master's and PhD students who are studying botany in California. We gave out $12,000 awards this spring, which I think is wonderful. I'd now like to talk about a herbarium. And this is a collection of dried plants that gives us an idea of what plants were found in an area through time. The oldest specimens at the Chico State Herbarium are from the late 1800s. As the climate changes, the collection of plants in a herbarium are very important to document these changes of plants over time. This is a view inside one of the cabinets that's filled with dried plants at the Chico State Herbarium. That's Jenny Marr on the left, and on the right is Lawrence Janeway, and he's the current curator at the Chico State Herbarium. And he put together the following slides for our last annual meeting of the Friends of the Chico State Herbarium. Our keynote speaker was Michelle Copoletta, talking about fire regime alteration in natural areas. And we had an open house, tours, and a visit by the speaker before she actually spoke. And then afterwards, we had our annual meeting and also 2 short talks from our Jim Jokers Award winners. This is what the Chico State Herbarium workroom looks like, some specimens and the visitor log. The staff of the Chico State Herbarium, Colleen Hatfield is the herbarium director. Lawrence Janeway, as I mentioned, is the curator. The administrative help in the biology office, Sandra Schulten, also student assistant help last fall are listed, and the imaging project. And all of these folks have been working hard in the herbarium until we hit the quarantine because of COVID-19. Hopefully they'll be able to come back and work again, or other students will. We also have volunteers that help in the Chico State Herbarium. They help with open hours, visitors, databasing and filing, and there are people that do the collecting. And Lowell Ahart does wonderful mounting. And the Friends of the Chico State Herbarium, friends have been very helpful with the herbarium itself. Here's some pictures of folks that work in the herbarium, Cindy and Nancy and Tony, and there's Lowell that does a lot of the mounting. Loans are given out, so if somebody is working on a certain group of plants and they want to look at specimens, those can be sent from Chico State off to somewhere else, and there's a list of who got what. There are also visitors that come to the herbarium, and the accessions, the number of specimens that are there. There are 122,000 specimens in the herbarium. 116 of those have now been databased, and they're available through the Consortium of California Herbaria. And that's one of the big workloads that the herbarium is doing. Here's where all of the records are found. The view on the left is all of them. On the right, they're color-coded, so the darker color means there's been more records from that area, so you can see which areas have been more collected than others in California. The specimens are data-based, and Cindy is one of the main people that does that, and here's the form that she fills out to do that. Also, they're barcoded, and the specimens are imaged. And if you want to do this from your home, you just get on the Consortium of California Herbaria and fill in the information, and it'll let you know what is in the herbarium that you are interested in looking at. You can make it as wide or as narrow a search as you want. Besides the work in the herbarium itself, the Friends of the Herbarium also gives out a Field Botany Award each year in memory of Jim Jokerst. And we also have workshops. These help to provide funds for the curator. Here are some that are done in the lab. One on butterflies. You can see John Miller in his blue shirt back there. And another one on manzanitas. Mike Vasey and Tom Parker from San Francisco State have come to do that one. Both of these workshops were going to be given this spring, but due to the quarantine, we weren't able to do that. We've also had workshops in the field. John Muir Laws gave one on nature journaling, and we had one on meadow monitoring that Kyle Merriam and Mike Foster gave. I'd now like to talk a little bit about California plant diversity. There are approximately 6,000 plant species found in California. California has the most plant species than any other state in the nation, which I think is pretty neat. But at least 1/3 of those are found nowhere else in the world. The California Native Plant Society is a diverse mix of scientists, gardeners, students, conservationists, and horticulture experts. Together, each is doing their part to save and celebrate California's incredible native plant heritage. Since 1968, there's been a rare plant program, and the data are widely accepted as the standard for information on rarity and endangerment status of the California flora. Changing landscapes for California native plants. From California Native Plant Society, the effects of climate change is being seen in real time. Irregular blooming periods, range contractions, and population declines are underway. With these changes come significant questions. What species are most likely to survive California's rapidly changing climate? What species are most at risk, and what can we do to help them? Where might species occur in the future that they don't occur today? And how do those changes impact decisions about land use and conservation going forward? Today, scientists are actively using data modeling and genetic research to try to answer climate change questions. These models come in two forms: species distribution models, maps that predict where habitat is today and probably could be in the future, and vulnerability analyses, models that rank the probable climate stress to a given species or plant community. While research is helping to reduce some of the uncertainty, these predictive models often raise as many questions as answers. Today, we are faced with a challenging paradox: the uncertainty of available information coupled with the urgent need to make decisions based on that information. I'd like to go over the California rare plant ranks just so you understand what those are. If a plant is ranked 1A, it's presumed extinct in California and either rare or extinct elsewhere. If it's ranked 1B, it means it's rare, threatened, or endangered in California and elsewhere. If it's ranked 2A, it's presumed extinct in California, but common elsewhere. If it's a 2B, it's considered rare, threatened, or endangered in California, but more common elsewhere. A rank 3 is a review list, plants about which more information is needed. And finally, a rank 4 is a watch list, plants of limited distribution. The Forest Service comes up with their own list, uses the California rare plant ranks to analyze, to figure out what plants need to also be protected on national forest lands. And these are placed on the list due to rarity, very few known locations, or if it's a unique habitat, found in a rare habitat, wet area, or a rocky outcrop. The threats, are there invasive plant species, human development, or climate change? Are there viability issues? There's no viable seeds, has to outcross but only one population in an area, or no seedlings. So then you come up with a list of plants that the Forest Service is monitoring and managing. So here's some of the rare plants on the Plumas National Forest. California pitcher plant, the twisted stalk, mountain lady slipper, and the close-lip penstemon. The California pitcher plant, Darlingtonia californica, is a plant that has a modified leaf like a pitcher, that has translucent windows in the hood that attract insects. The insects fly into the pitcher and end up at the bottom of the pitcher in a pool of liquid. There are bacteria in the liquid that decompose the soft parts of the insect to provide nitrogen for the plant. This is a list 4 plant, and it's known from California and Oregon in wet areas. And it's really a fun one to see out in the woods. Twisted stalk is a very rare plant. It's only known from 2 meadows on the Plumas National Forest. The stems are flat and spirally twisted. It's a rare plant, and it's also on the Forest Service Region 5 sensitive plant species list. Mountain lady slipper is found in mixed conifer forest on the Plumas National Forest. Its distribution is quite wide. It's found in Western Canada, in the United States and Alaska, the Pacific Northwest, and in California. It's on list 4 watch list, and it's also on the Region 5 sensitive plant species list. There are fungi in the soil that provide the germinating orchid seed with nutrients to develop into a young seedling. Terrestrial temperate orchids maintain their relationship with the fungus throughout its lifetime. The sweet scent that the lady slipper orchid attracts insects to pollinate the flower. The insects land on the slipper and follow the bee lines into the slipper. The insect bumps its head on the stigma, which is sticky. The pollen on its head land on the stigma. The insect rubs past the pollinia, which is a bunch of pollen, and it gets some new pollen and then leaves that flower for the next one. The closed-lip penstemon is a rank 1B, it's plants rare, and it's also a Forest Service Region 5 sensitive plant species list. It's found in mixed conifer forests from 4,000 to 6,000 feet. The largest known location is south of Bucks Lake, and it's known from the Lassen, Plumas, and Tahoe National Forests. These are some of my favorite plants that I just wanted to include because they're kind of neat. My favorite one is Mountain Bells, Fritillaria recurva. It blooms from April to June, found in foothill woodland, chaparral, and mixed conifer. It's known from southwestern Oregon, northern California, and northern Nevada. And it's my favorite spring wildflower. It's just so pretty to see it out in the forest, that bright red and yellow. This is a really neat one. This is a calypso orchid. It's a tiny pink orchid in mixed conifer forest. And look at the size of that black oak leaf right next to that tiny pink flower. So it gives you a sense of how small it is. It's found in mountainous regions throughout the northern hemisphere. In California, in the North Coast Range, and it grows all the way up the Pacific Northwest to Alaska. It's found in the Rocky Mountains, the Lake States, and New England. The California poppy, Eschscholzia californica, was named by Chamisso when he, Alberto von Chamisso, and Johann von Eschscholz traveled on a ship, Ruik, from Russia to the Fort Ross area of California in 1818. Both men collected many animal and plant specimens while in California. Chamisso named the California poppy in Eschscholz's honor in 1820. He accidentally left out the T out of the name, though, which I think is kind of interesting. It became the state flower of California in 1903. It's found in California, north to Oregon and Washington, east to Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas, and south to Baja California. It's not as widespread in Northern California as in Southern California. If you ever get a chance to go down to the Antelope California Poppy Preserve, go ahead and do that. It is spectacular, and you can see why it is our state flower. The season as well as the duration varies from year to year when these are in bloom, mostly mid-March to mid-April. But contact the Antelope Valley Poppies Preserve, which is near Lancaster, California, for the blooming time so you're there when it's at peak. Each year is a little different now due to climate change, but it is well worth the visit. Snow plant is another one of my favorites. The plant derives its sustenance and nutrients from fungi that attach to the roots of trees. It's known from the mountain areas of Oregon, California, Nevada, and Baja California. It's found in mixed conifer and red fir forest. Blooms in May through July, and it just looks like these little red fire plugs that are coming up out of the dirt. And finally, this is a plant that's near and dear to my heart, twin flower, Linnea borealis, variety Americana. This was Carolus Linnaeus's favorite flower, and he was the one that started the system having two names for a species, first the genus and then the specific epithet. He asked a friend to name this plant after him, never knowing that his system would catch on. It's the provincial flower of Småland, which is where he was born in Sweden. It's a common girl's name in Sweden, and it's found in montane forests in the northern hemisphere. And we have it in the mountains around here, which is really wonderful to see. Well, what's next? What do you do with all this new knowledge you have about wildflowers and plant diversity in California? Be sure to get outside and enjoy the wildflowers. Be sure to socially distance when you do that. Go out on a Mount Les and CNPS chapter field trip when they are offered again. And take a Friends of the Chico State Herbarium workshop when they can also be offered again. I think you would enjoy them quite a lot. Well, thank you very much.